Many black and whites are more than 100 years old, and they are not like modern detached houses. Most black and whites lack modern amenities, which we often take for granted, and require significant effort to retrofit. For example, some may lack air conditioning, water heaters, or even cooking hobs. Members have seen pictures of some black and whites over the last couple of weeks in the press, and you will see that the condition of these properties prior to tenancy, especially if they have been vacant for a prolonged period, is fairly obvious from the pictures. Therefore, quite often, incoming tenants have to undertake capital expenditure to upgrade the unit to raise it to modern standards. But the conservation requirements that I just outlined often impose constraints on how far a tenant can retrofit the properties in question. Also, unlike owners of a property, tenants can only enjoy the benefits of retrofitting for the duration of the tenancy. It is a standard term in such leases that when the tenancy lapses, the property and everything that is upgraded by the tenant at his cost will be returned to SLA if SLA wishes to keep the upgrade. This clause also appears in the tenancies of both 26 and 31 Ridout Road. In such cases, there is therefore a need to find a tenant that is prepared to invest capital to upgrade the unit to meet modern-day amenities, except that the benefits of these investments can only be enjoyed for the duration of the tenancy and take on the risk of a higher rental price to renew or not renewing and writing off the costs of the capital expenditure altogether. This limits the pool of prospective tenants for black and whites. I've described in detail how SLA handled the process. For both properties, offers of rental were made which met the guide rent. In addition, both tenants would be making substantial capital expenditure to renovate and enhance the properties. SLA would then be able to retain these enhancements at the end of the tenancy period. This would add value to any subsequent tenancy for SLA and also be set off against the works which SLA had to undertake to renovate and refurbish the properties which I had taken members through. It should also be borne in mind that both these offers were made at a time when the rental market in Singapore was depressed. The previous tenant of number 26, Ridout Road, had pre-terminated their lease, and no viable offers were received in the intervening period for either property. In addition, in the case of number 26, Ridout Road, the cost of maintaining the additional heavily vegetated land would then fall on the tenant, and this would have been in the order of $25,000 per year. In these circumstances, there was every reasonable commercial basis for SLA to have entered into those transactions. The terms of both leases were standard and did not contain any unusual clauses. They were entirely at arm's length and did not deviate from usual processes. The specific valuer handling the request for valuation did not know the potential tenant, and SMTO has explained how Minister Shanmugam has removed himself from the chain of command and decision-making process.